Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Ketubot page 63, which discusses the very famous story of the great Rabbi Akiva. He was actually a shepherd, and his father-in-law, whose name was Savoa, given this interesting name, which literally means a kelev, a dog that satiates, because any person who would go to this wealthy man's home, even if he was starving like a dog, he had so much money that every single person would be able to leave totally satisfied, full, and satiated. Now, it turned out that Rabbi Akiva saw this man's daughter, whose name was Rachel or Rachel, and they wanted to marry. However, she made the following stipulation: I'll marry you on condition that you study Torah first, because Rabbi Akiva at the time actually did not have a lot of Torah knowledge. In fact, he had minimal Torah knowledge, to say the least. And he agreed that he would go and learn Torah for 12 years. In fact, when he finished his 12 years, he came back after not seeing his wife with 12,000 students. But before he was able to actually see her, he overheard that there was a neighbor, an elderly woman, that was speaking to her and said, "It's terrible that you are like a widow in the life of your husband because he's never here." And she said an amazing thing. She said, "If it was up to me, I would grant my husband an additional 12 years that he should continue to learn and further his Torah study." And on this, Rabbi Akiva, overhearing this, said, "Clearly she's given me permission," and he just turned around and continued learning. And on this, Rav Chaim Shmulevitz explains that even though you would think maybe he should have come and visited her for a few minutes, it shows there is a huge difference between someone who does something in continuity without a break, as opposed to someone who takes constant breaks. That breaking of the pattern will not be as significant as someone who remains steadfast, delving into something for a long period of time. So he understood being engaged in Torah study for 24 years is much better than 12 years, taking a break, and then 12 years. And then when he came back after that, he had 24,000 students. His wife heard about this. Not having seen her husband for that long, she had to borrow clothes because actually her father was not happy about this relationship. And he said, "I do not want to give any of my possessions. I'm not helping them." And basically, she was very poor because of that, even though her father was extremely wealthy. He made a vow: "I don't want to have anything to do with this because I totally do not agree with this relationship," because he did not see the greatness, the potential of what Rabbi Akiva could become, which his daughter was able to see. So it turned out that there was a massive amount of all these students Rabbi Akiva was teaching them, and his wife was coming ever so closely. And she started to approach the great Rabbi Akiva, and people were kind of wondering, who is this woman? And kind of encouraged her to go away. And Rabbi Akiva stopped, and he said one of the most powerful sentences imaginable. He said to his students, "Shavkua, leave her, because shali v'shalchem shalahu." All the Torah that I have amassed in my years, and all the Torah that I've taught all of you thousands and thousands of students, it's only due to her. If it wasn't for her encouragement, then I would never be the man that I am today, which is, again, is a tremendous thing. Can you imagine that a person who has so much credit that he can easily boastfully speak about himself, but he turned and says, "No, it wasn't me, it was my wife. I have to give all the credit to my wife." And in fact, Savoa heard that there was this great man. He didn't know who it was. And he said, "Let me go because I feel bad. I love my daughter and I shouldn't have made this vow. I don't want her to be poor. I want to help her out. So maybe it can be annulled by this great sage." So in fact, he went there, and it turned out this Rabbi Akiva, who he didn't know was Rabbi Akiva, he said, "Would you have made this vow if this person would have been somewhat of a scholar?" And he said, "Even if my son-in-law would have learned one law, I wouldn't have made this," which means he expected and thought nothing of him. And all of a sudden he turned to him and he said, "I need to tell you, Dad, I am the Rabbi Akiva. It's me." And you can understand and imagine how he felt. And because of that, he ended up giving half of his possessions, half of his wealth, to Rabbi Akiva and to his daughter.